on xenophobia in South Africa. It is unfortunate that this what Julius Malema calls self-hate, which I couldn't agree with him more, continues to pop up, especially in South Africa. It is a practice that, to tell you the truth, it's not African. It's not African. Most of us are Pan-Africanists. I even think in my inner self, I am more than just a Pan-Africanist. I am an Africanist. That is what I call myself. But in the context of Pan-Africanism, I will take Pan-Africanism if you refer to me as that. But I am an Africanist, to tell you the truth, and I believe it is a more stronger feeling to me than just being a Pan-Africanist. So this xenophobia that has been publicized and instrumentalized and promoted by people with completely an anti-African agenda, simply to make sure that the effort that our forefathers made, the gains that our forefathers made 60 years ago, doesn't that the efforts that the gains that our forefathers made 60 years ago are lost, because these gains contradicts, because the gains that we have made for 60 years is directly conflicting with the intentions and the lifestyle and the expectations of our oppressors, who continue to oppress us even till today. So the wars, we have had diseases that have been introduced into our continent. We have had vaccines that have come to try to hold us down. That, okay, introduce this vaccine so that women would not put to bed so many Africans. We know that those are not conspiracy theories anymore. There are several researchers that have proven that. We have seen how the Neo-Colonialists have kept dictators in power to make sure that the European agenda on Africa since 1884 and even beyond that in the 16th continue. So the wars that they continue to instigate within Africa, so that more cobalt can go out, more oil can go out for free, and the African continent will continue to be looted. That is the game plan. It's all economics. It is all economics. It is nothing about our feelings or just relations. It is about economics, and it's not about economics for Africa. It's about economics for the West. It's about economics for particular European corporations who continue to look for ways to make sure that the African unity is distorted, and that way they continue to have their way. We know that the ECOWAS recently just created their currency, and we are all aware that things like this continue to create fear and tension to the West, We all know the Gaddafi story of the dinner that he tried to create. So once all of these neo-colonialists see Africans taking steps to strengthen African economics, which they are the major exploiters and current beneficiaries, and not the African people, they feel threatened and introduce fear, tension, and all of these anti feelings amongst the people, so that they can break these gains that our people continue to make. Now, it is not by accident that they continue to target Nigeria. Nigeria, for the most part, has been targeted. You can take away every other weaknesses that is surrounded with the Nigerian community, but Nigeria has been targeted in Africa for its strong political, economic, and social power within the continent. So it is no accident that if Nigeria is provoked due to some so-called anti-Nigerian or foreign feeling in South Africa, that keeps the whole Africa in disarray. We have maintained that Nigeria is the big brother of Africa, and if the strong man in your home is taken out, it leaves you more vulnerable to intruders. So in effect, I am saying that the so-called xenophobia in South Africa is foreign. It is not of Africa. It is a manipulation. It is an instigation by people with special interest on the African continent, and it has been carefully crafted to attack the foundation of African economic. South Africa and Nigeria form the backbone of especially Black Africa. This is no coincidence. So this is orchestrated in this way so that Africa is growing. We have seen that Africa is the developing market. Education is booming, and development is also booming. And African economics are doing really well to make sure that trade and interactions between the African continent is enhanced. That way Africans can even depend on themselves, and the fact that Africans can depend on themselves is a direct threat to other foreign interests that depend on Africa both for resources and market. Excuse me. What is left for Africans to do? It is for Africans to realize that they cannot be their own worst enemy. It is unfortunate for the lives that have been lost. We cannot bring them back, but we can understand our problems as Africans. We can identify the intruders, and then we can protect ourselves. We can protect ourselves better just by coming together, and this is the responsibility of every Pan-Africanist, from Pierre Lumumba to Julius Malema to people, ordinary Pan-Africanists and Africanists like myself. It is for us to come together and preach what is right for our people. It is through the education and reconciliation in the hurt that we have been manipulated to hate ourselves, like Julius Malema puts it. We cannot allow these manipulations to continue. We can only shame the devil. For all my brothers in Nigeria, Zambia, and all the other countries that have been affected by this incident in South Africa, please do not hold it against South Africa. Do not hold it against South Africa. We can calm down and look at ways to solve our problems. To our South Africans, we want to assure you that in the same way that Africa stood up to protect Black South Africans against apartheid, it is an African tradition to do that. We are not going to stop now. We understand that this is a manipulation, and we want you, the Black South Africans particularly, and South Africans in general, to work with the rest of Africa to make Africa and South Africa proud and better. We have every potential to do so. There is enough in Africa for every brother and sister that can go around. We have already spared tons and trillions of tons of our resources to the West, and we still have a lot more. So there is enough for the household. We have an overflow in the continent, and we need everyone on board to simply do their part and cultivate the field for the family. The African family must scoop from this African basket anywhere in the continent. South Africans are welcome in Amazonia. South Africans are welcome in Lagos. South Africans are welcome in Togo. South Africans are welcome in Ghana. South Africans are welcome anywhere in the motherland. Do not let the manipulations of selfish corporations dig into your values. The African value is that of generosity. We have been generous for hundreds of years. We are not going to be manipulated into presenting a different version of ourselves. We are a very gracious people. We love not just our neighbors, we love even strangers. We have proven that for ages, and we are not going to change today. Let's forget self-hate and embrace one Africa. Ubuntu.
Oh, happy day. Happy day. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And Jah said, Behold, I have given unto thee every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in there which is a fruit of a tree yielding seed to you which shall be for meat. Jah Rastafari.
Mother Nature is calling, and the land is bleeding. Mother Nature calling, mother land is falling. Destruction and industrial pollution is appalling. Ghetto youth them dying, the media is lying. They don't wanna do something but the global warming. So my seed and the crops don't grow. Up on the top and a dirty water flow. I'm burning, it's like the breeze never blow. Got them cut off all the trees them sow. You never know, you never know, you never know. Your children may never see tomorrow. You never know, you never know, you never know. Them destroying the future. Mother Nature is calling. And malnutrition in organic food delivery. Cow and chicken, turkey, even tomatoes, them are breeding. Them try to pleasure, them never succeeding. Take everything Mother Nature is rendering. Rastafari cause I and I is defending. We all know the truth but the multitude pretending. And the struggle never ending. Hey, you never know, you never know, you never know. Your children may never see tomorrow. You never know, you never know, you never know. Them destroying the future. Mother Nature is calling. And the land is bleeding. Mother Nature is calling.
Jah said, Behold, I have given unto thee every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in there which is a fruit of a tree yielding seed to you which shall be for meat. Jah